Jim.
Good evening.
It has been a while, and I hope you are well. And whilst there are much bigger things on in the world at play at the moment, and honestly, the fate of a little science fiction programme really shouldn't matter that much. For all of you like me that are somewhat worried about the future of this little tin pot programme, I hope we all get some resolution soon. In the meantime, screw all the fascists in the world. Now, we haven't watched it for some time, and so we got back to Matt Smith. It was an absolute delight to be dropped into this era of Doctor Who. And what struck me most about being back in this era of Doctor Who, for it is, of course, there is no Doctor Who after this at this point, because that's the rules of the Whoathon, is just how flipping audacious these two episodes are. It is utterly ridiculous to think that this programme, which by this point had been on for how many years? 47, 8 years? I've got my figures right there. Is able at this stage in its history to do something as brash and bold and flipping daft as this. And it has so many ideas crammed into it, and it's just so brazen in its Doctor Who-ness. I can't remember what the general public perception of Doctor Who was at this stage. I can't remember what job I had, which is always a good place to... Work colleagues are a very good place to hear their perceptions of stuff. But this is just ridiculous. There's so many big things at play here. You've got River Song returning, and to be fair, the programme does do a very good job of just reminding anybody who's on for the ride now, the whole River Song thing. We've got... It never explicitly quotes it, but more wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff wrapped up to this than is it feasible. We've got a pregnant yet not pregnant Amy.
I was even confused on this one, I'll be honest.
Yeah. I think that's a problem. Now, I wasn't this time through, but I remember being confused the first time through. And the problem with this, I think, is for your not we, a phrase I still don't like, coming at this for...
What do you think if you don't like?
I can't think of a better word. Coming at this for the first time, how do you make sense of this? The simple fact is that... Okay, so let's pretend that there is a future to Doctor Who after this point. When you know what's coming, we've never had to do... Actually, do you know, I've been able to keep that conceit, that Whoathon conceit going for hundreds of these silly little reviews. And it's at this point in Doctor Who's history where it's actually impossible, really, truly, to talk about this in isolation for what comes after it. Because when you know what comes after it, this is an absolutely stellar piece of television. The whole hints about Amy and the baby, the lady who with the eye patch whose name I've forgotten, who appears out of nowhere, which I remember at the time thinking that's a bit cheap that, there's no explanation for that. You can't get away with that moth. But it's going to turn out to be absolutely solid and all stick together. I just think that it is... Doctor Who at this point in its history is pushing at the boundaries, is what is okay in all sorts of different ways. But in this episode, it's pushing it as what's okay to expect the casual audience to appreciate. And we are pushing quite hard here. But I'm not the casual audience, and nor's Libby. So what you got in this was just a feast of moments and images and jokes and ideas. Just a whole heap of stuff. There's no point to rest here. We've got more... Like, in another iteration of Doctor Who, Nixon would be a joke. But Nixon... And he is, to be fair. But it's actually got a part to play here. That stuff at the start with Canton, the phone calls, really bleak and sad and upsetting. And then, of course, the Doctor comes in and monkeys the whole thing up, and it's absolutely joyous and beautiful in that. It is, and the silence, oh my gosh, the silence... Why have the silence never...
Silence, for me, they're a bit like the Weeping Angels, that sort of like corner of your eye, freaking... Do
you think they're too similar to the Weeping Angels?
No.
I don't. I think they're unbelievable. And I think the silence could have gone on to be... Should go on to be... one of the big baddies. Honestly, I just think there's something absolutely petrifying about them. We've got the best of Moffat happening here, honestly, in so much as wrapping it all around. And it does make logical sense. The trick at the end of of putting the message in that piece of footage. I love that. It's such a clever Moffat idea, and it sticks in this one. Sometimes they're a bit tenuous, and you have to just let the chutzpah carry you through. But no, it really works here. The throw forward to the lodger, timey-wimey stuff, that sticks for me as well. All that. I mean, oh, and of course the mystery of this child in the spacesuit. Yeah, that all works. It's just such a... The sheer bravado of it just carries this off in a way that I can't think of many of the Doctor Who stories. Like, we get the baited switch of the flipping cliffhanger, which then drops us into a whole different style of Doctor Who. I remember the first time we saw this being a little bit... It's almost like culture shock, because this doesn't feel really like much Doctor Who we've ever had before. Really, truly, I don't think it does. I don't know if it's the locale, if it's the whole America aspect of it.
Well, it's kind of Wes Anderson-y visual.
Big vistas and this, that and the other. That, the start of the second episode, where we've got the TARDIS team being pursued, and particularly Amy and Rory, that bit where he nearly gets locked. I mean, crikey, him getting locked in that prison would be a whole story in another story. But in this, it's just a daft conceit, just to resolve the cliffhanger. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's almost too much. It's almost too much. But for me at least, do you think it's too much? Yeah. I mean, I completely sympathise. For me, this run through, it was just like, wow. Wow, this is so cool. This is my programme doing ridiculous things. But there we go. At the heart of it, though, and this is where I'm gunning towards, is one of the best TARDIS teams there has ever been. I cannot get over this time through, knowing everything that's been, knowing... It's weird, isn't it, when you go back to Doctor Who? Not that I've ever seen this before. It's the first time I've ever seen it. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah, you know what I mean. When you've got the confidence in the TARDIS team to know that they're going to stick, that it's going to work, it's not going to let you down at any point. I just think, in a manner akin to, and I cite these, but Baker, Sladen, and Ian Marter. That's the template for this TARDIS team. And it just is so solid and works so well. And I really believe, Winnie believes, oh my God, she believes so hard in the relationship between Rory and Amy, and it's a really lovely thing, and it just works at this. I don't know of any other. Well, there isn't another couple that like that, but it just sticks. And then you had Alex Kingston as flipping Riverside.
Absolutely love
just the chemistry between her and Matt Smith is off the rack. It's unbelievable. I can't. Seeing the Doctor, it's set up at the start, isn't it, with the whole joke about him being under the skirt, which is genuinely funny. And the fact that this Doctor can have a sexualised aspect to him, and it works because it's he makes it so awkward and yet lovable, like this drunk Bambi just flailing about, and it's just... And also, can I also say, I have great things to say about Matt Smith that will come, but I really think he does something so smart at the start of this episode where he plays the older version of the Doctor and then the younger version of the Doctor. And once you recognise that they're two different versions of the Doctor, you absolutely feel that you sense that difference. Like, it is a subtle thing, but he does it so magnificently well. He was good off from the off, wasn't he? But he has got this down now, in a special way, in a very, very special way. I really think Matt Smith has got a serious handle on his Doctor, and it's...
I'd like to get a serious handle on his Doctor.
Behave, Elizabeth. He is younger than we are, which is quite...
Wibbly wobbly timey-wimey.
That's true. That's fair enough. Anyway, what a joyous thing to arrive back at. I've just been reading The World is a Mess and There Are Idiots in the World, and I'm very glad that I have Doctor Who to keep me happy. I hope wherever you are happy, and I hope that sooner or later we get the ephemeral but nonetheless important news that our favourite programme is coming back. See you soon. Bye bye.